How's it going, you guys? My name is Charlie and I run multiple businesses. I have about 85 people across my companies, and over the last year, I've completely changed how I think about hiring. It's not because AI is like replacing my team or anything like that. I actually think that's super overblown. It's actually because AI is changing what kind of people I need, where I find them, and what I'm actually looking for in an employee. And a lot of business owners I talk to are still hiring the exact same way that they were 2 or 3 years ago. And honestly, I think that is a huge mistake. So in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly how I'm changing my hiring strategy in 2026 and beyond, what I'm looking for now that's different than before, and how you can actually apply this to your own business. Let's get into it. Okay, the headline that everyone keeps seeing is AI is going to take your job. That's not what's actually happening in my businesses. In fact, I haven't let anyone go and replace them with AI. The thing is, I still need really great people, but I am rethinking what I hire for. So the old instinct was like, something's not getting done, I'm gonna hire a person to fill that gap. That was the default for many, many years. Now, before I actually hire, I ask the simple question, can AI handle 60 to 70% of this? If the answer is yes, I don't need a full-time person for that role. I need someone that can actually manage the AI doing the work. And so essentially, I'm less interested in people who only do repetitive task work. And I really do believe that those types of roles are shrinking fast. At least if you used to have, let's say, 10 people on your team doing these types of tasks, now you might just need 2 or 3 people. So actually a Fortune survey from March 2026 found that 40% of employers plan to reduce headcount where AI can automate tasks this year. Nearly 60% of hiring managers said they plan layoffs in 2026, and AI was the most cited reason. Now, that's not because AI is doing everything. It's because companies are rethinking what roles they actually need. The World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report says 170 million new jobs will be created by 2030, but 92 million existing roles will disappear. So that's a net positive of 78 million jobs, but only for people with the right skills. So essentially what I think is gonna happen is the jobs are changing, they're not disappearing. The people who combine human skill with AI are going to be the most valuable employees on the planet. And yeah, that is who I'm hiring. Now, for years, the biggest advantage of hiring in the US was the language barrier. So if you needed someone who could communicate well in English, write really clearly, get on calls with clients, you kind of had to hire here in the US. But what I'll say is that AI has basically closed that gap, right? There are so many translation tools, writing assistants, grammar tools, and people overseas can now communicate at a near native level with the right tools. So the advantage of a US hire is getting smaller and smaller for a ton of roles. Yeah, some roles you still want to hire in the US for sure, but like I said, a lot of other roles, the advantage of a US hire is getting very, very small. Personally, I'm hiring a bunch in Indonesia. I think that Indonesia is the next Philippines. Right, you always hear people hiring in the Philippines because you can save like 70% on your costs. But actually Indonesia is even cheaper. I think it's super, super Western. It's a little bit harder to find people that are very native at English versus the Philippines. But I will say if you find the right people, they are super, super hardworking, very loyal, very Western. They become my friends. And yeah, now over half of my team are actually in Indonesia. That's how much I love this country. So basically you can save 80% or more in your hiring costs. And a role that you'd probably have to pay someone 5 to 8K per month in the US would probably be like 1 to 2K in Indonesia. As a CEO, as a business owner, these types of numbers just make it so obvious where I'm going to hire. I don't think there's that many people that understand overseas better than me. I have an overseas recruiting company. The majority of my team of 85 people are overseas. And right now I have team members in Indonesia, Brazil, Mexico, South Africa, Spain, Poland, Philippines, China, and there's probably some other countries that I'm forgetting right now, but those are the ones that I can think of. It's interesting because a lot of the people I hire from overseas, they actually went to school in places like Singapore or other international schools. Then they return to their home country and they're super sharp. They have a very Western education. They speak amazing English and they're super dedicated workers. Basically, the talent pool overseas is super massive, it's super undertapped, and especially when you pair those people with AI tools, they become incredibly productive. Again, I'm not saying that you should never hire in the US. A bunch of my core executive team is still in the US, although for the last 2 years, I've started to build my executive team overseas as well. Instead of paying, let's say, $300,000 to $500,000 for someone with a ton of experience in the US, you can pay a low 6-figure salary to someone in, let's say, Indonesia. They're gonna have 10 to 15 years of experience. And guys, if you saw how good my executive team overseas actually is, I think a lot of you would really try to move some of your executive team overseas. And yes, for a lot of operational and execution roles, overseas talent paired with AI is honestly a better setup than a more expensive US hire doing it manually. Yeah, that's a big part of why I started paired recruiting, but we'll talk more about that later. Okay, so the hiring criteria have completely shifted. So I used to weigh resume and experience a lot more heavily. And then now I actually care way more about practical skill, speed of learning, and hustle. The reason is this, right? If someone has 10 years of experience, but they're slow to adapt and they refuse to use AI tools, they're actually less valuable than someone with 2 years of experience who learns fast and uses AI for everything. Let's talk about some of the key characteristics that I'm looking for when I hire. So first is gonna be taste and judgment, right? Can you look at something and know if it's good or not? AI can produce a ton of output, but someone needs to decide what's actually worth using. Next is gonna be decision making. So AI can give you a bunch of different options, but someone has to pick the right one and own the outcome. Next is speed of learning. So the tools are changing every few months, and I need people who get excited about learning new stuff, not people who resist it. Next is hustle. So this never changes. This is something that I've always looked for. It's people who move fast and figure things out, right? Those are the people that always win. An interesting stat is the WEF report listed the top rising skills as AI literacy. This is up 70% in demand from 2024 to 2025. Creative thinking, resilience, and curiosity. So it's not just technical skills, right? These are human skills paired with tech literacy. So overall, I think you can somewhat summarize it as less experience is necessary, at least compared to before, and more important is speed of learning. That is the new formula. Okay, so now let's talk about how I want people who manage AI like a team member. This is becoming a really real skill set, and most people don't have it yet. And when I say manage AI, I mean someone that can brief AI clearly, right? Give the right context, the right instructions, the right examples. 2, refine prompts. So not just accept the first output, but actually iterate and make it better. 3 is fact-checking output. AI gets things wrong sometimes. You need someone who can catch that. 4, turn rough drafts into usable assets. So AI gives you, let's say 70%, you're 70% of the way there, and then a great employee gets it to 100%. And 5, build repeatable workflows, right? So don't just use AI once for a task, but build a system around it that works every single time. It used to be SOPs that were a crucial part of any business. They're still super important, but now these AI automations, I think that is the next SOP. So you kind of want to think of it like this, right? We're building an army of delegators. Everyone on the team should be able to delegate to AI the same they delegate to, let's say, a junior employee. You want to brief the AI, review the work, give feedback, and then ship the final product. Let's really briefly talk about my interview process, which has been changing. Now I ask candidates what AI tools they already use. And if the answer is none, that is a huge red flag. And don't just ask them what tools they use, try to get real examples of how they use it, right? Like show me a time when you use AI to speed up your work. We don't care about theory, we just want actual examples. I also care about how they check accuracy. So anyone can get AI to write something, but can you tell when it's wrong? That's a very, very important skill. Now I give tasks where AI is specifically allowed, right? In fact, I actually want you to use AI. I don't want you to do everything manually. I want to see how you think, how you can use tools, and what the final output looks like. Now, to be clear, I'm not trying to replace everyone with AI. There are things that humans will always be better at, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. We're always going to have humans in leadership positions, doing management, persuasion, sales, relationships, on-camera talent, creative direction, strategy, trust, all that stuff. These are all either judgment heavy, relationship heavy, or taste heavy roles. And guys, seriously, AI is just a tool. It doesn't have judgment. It doesn't build trust. It can't sit across from a client and actually read the room. So my core executive team still meets for calls regularly. And then the rest of the week, everyone's just working independently using a pretty heavy tech stack. In fact, about 6 months ago, I hired an AI implementer. This is a full-time person in China. And one of his big tasks is to get everyone AI obsessed. So we built this internal dashboard that actually tracks everyone's AI usage. It was built using Claude Code pretty easily. It tracks usage, the quality of prompts, and actually gives feedback to them on how to get better. We also have leaderboards so people can compare themselves to other people. I think having this type of accountability and like gameplay makes it a lot more fun. It makes it actually get implemented in your business a lot faster. You guys should also all be hiring an AI implementer yourself, right? If you have a team of, let's say, 10 plus people, if you hire one single person that makes everyone 50% more productive, then that's like adding 5 new people to your team without any payroll increases. And 50% is super, super conservative. I think you can easily increase everyone's output by 2 to 3x right now. Maybe in the future, this might go up to 4 to 5x. The truth is, like, if you're not actively trying to get AI more into your business, then other people are going to do that. They're going to get in front of you. They're going to be building things way, way, way faster than you, or they're just going to be way more of an efficient company. And there's just no way that you're going to be able to compete. Anyways, so wrapping this video up, hopefully you guys can tell how passionate I am about hiring, especially overseas hiring. And that's a big reason why I co-founded Paired Recruiting. So Paired is my overseas recruiting agency, and we help businesses find really amazing talent in countries like Indonesia, Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, South Africa, Europe, Asia, the list goes on. These are people who are skilled, they're hungry, and they're also way more affordable than hiring domestically. We've placed hundreds of people across all types of roles in some of the fastest growing companies. We've also worked with companies that I'm not allowed to say because we are NDA'd. Yeah, a lot of people trust us. I think we are one of the best overseas recruiting agencies to exist, and we have a ton of really satisfied clients. One thing that makes Paired different is that we actually vet for the stuff I talked about in this video, right? We're not just looking at resumes. We're actually able to find people who are adaptable, who use AI tools, who learn fast, who can actually move the needle for your business. So if you are a business owner that's watching this and you want to start building a team that's set up for 2026 and beyond, I really encourage you to check out Paired. We would love to work with you. I'll put a link in the description. You guys can book a call with my team. It's completely free. It's basically like an audit of your current team to see where we can actually help. And yeah, I truly believe that every single business would benefit in tons of ways by hiring overseas talent. And I'll stand by this forever. Hopefully it's apparent with how my team is structured for my media business. It is the most logical and most efficient way to run and build a business these days. And so I really hope that you guys can consider giving overseas talent a shot. Even if it's not through us, that's totally okay. I'll still be happy that you guys are giving people overseas a shot at working for your company. So yeah, that's pretty much how I'm thinking about hiring right now. AI is not going away. It's getting exponentially better and faster. And the businesses that adapt how they build their teams are gonna have a huge advantage. If this was helpful, make sure you guys leave a comment, subscribe. I do a ton of videos about entrepreneurship, finance, tutorials. My whole goal is to help you guys live a financially successful life. I'm really passionate about business, and if you guys made it this far, I know you are as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.